All right. As people are coming in, if you guys could just post in the chat where you're coming from or where you heard about this event, that would be great. All right, for the sake of time, we're going to go ahead and get started. So welcome, everyone. My name is Tammy. I'm the founder of College4U Online Learning Center. College4U is a platform for first-generation college students. So we provide them with resources, information, networking, and support as they embark upon a brave milestone. So we are a college platform, college information platform, and welcome you guys to our very first virtual trade fair.
Woo!
All right.
All right. All right, and I will introduce myself. My name is Gabrielle Critchlow. I am the owner and director of A Step Ahead Tutoring Services. Our mission is to share resources to people who don't have easy access to resources due to financial means or the lack thereof. We provide one-on-one tutoring, test prep, as well as resume assistance and academic counseling. And I have partnered with Tammy here today to get the message out there that there's more than one way. There's more than one way to achieve an education, but also there's multiple ways to succeed in business. So we have, Tammy and I have common goals. So that is why we have our fair today.
Absolutely. Yeah, so the purpose of this fair really is to showcase that there's different routes that you can take to become successful outside of the traditional, going to a university, four-year university. There's different avenues that you can take, which is what we want to showcase today. All of our speakers come from diverse backgrounds. They all, have some sort of educational background or passion or skill set that they use and launch successful businesses. And so that's why we made the theme of this event today, Become Your Own Boss, excuse me, so that we can show you that there's different routes to take to pursue success. And so once again, we are recording this and we'll be uploading it to the College4U YouTube channel for replay. Throughout the presentation, if any of our audience has questions, feel free to post them in the chat, but we will ask that you hold questions until the very end. We'll have a Q&A.
Awesome. All right, so let's get into the rundown for today. So we have 6 speakers total. So we have it split into 2 sections. So we have the first 3 speakers who will talk about their businesses and the effect that the pandemic has had on them. Then we're going to have a 10-minute intermission, and then we're going to have the other 3 speakers in the second half. And then at the end, we have some goodies. We have a few raffles that we're going to give to the people who are here. So you have to stay to the end of the program in order to participate in the raffle. And then after that, we will have our Q&A. So we have a fun program for all of you today, as well as an informative program. All right. Should we get started?
Yes, let's do it. Also, I highly recommend that you guys use that little icon in the top right where it says view and make it speaker view. That way your attention can be on that speaker and not a bunch of different faces.
All right, awesome. So we're just going to jump right in. All right, so we're going to start with our first speaker. So our first speaker for today is Shaniqua Nicole. I'm going to give you a little info about her. So she is a serial entrepreneur, a mom, a mentor, and a wealth strategist on a mission to change the face of the wealthy. During her successful corporate career on Wall Street, she amassed a six-figure savings, but came to realize an increasing disparity not only within the financial industry, but also in her network. As a natural-born leader, she made it her mission to identify the contributing factors to this disparity and provide a solution for her peers. Then her accounting and wealth management firm was born. Opulence Financial Group was born. Please welcome to the stage, Shaniqua Nicole. Woo!
Woohoo!
Hey ladies, thank you so much for having me. Am I going to be able to share my screen here? It says that participant screen sharing is.
Yes, I can give you permission.
Okay, perfect. And then I will do that. But welcome to the fair, everyone. I get the pleasure of being your first speaker. So let's get some energy, guys. If you are currently in college, I would love for you to drop a 1 in the chat. If you're currently in college, drop a 1 in the chat. If you are an entrepreneur, drop a 2 in the chat so that we can know who we are talking to here too. Okay, entrepreneurs 1 and 2. Yes, because we can do it all. That's awesome.
Right.
Awesome. I love it. So let me share my screen. Oh, actually, I'll just share this one. And you guys let me know when that's live for you. Can we see my screen?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, perfect. So I'm Shaniqua Nicole, guys. I am a tax and wealth strategist, and I own a wealth management firm that I literally started when I was a college student. So I think this is a great place to have this discussion when you're trying to figure out what career path you want to take. Can I get rid of this here? Don't really know how to get rid of that. So I'm the president of Opulence Financial Group, and I know that we're supposed to talk a little bit about how the pandemic has affected our business. And for me, and for this industry, the financial industry specifically, I will say that the pandemic has definitely put a microscope on people's attention to their finances, right? We have so many people who have been displaced from the workplace. There's so many others who, you know, jobs maybe have closed for good. There's so many small businesses that are out of business for good. So this time has definitely put people's attentions a whole lot more on their finances than it normally has. And who else are they going to reach out to but experts in finance? So I found, and a lot of my colleagues in this space would agree, that we're swamped, right? And that's in a great way. Number one, we're in the middle of tax season. Number two, we also have these PPPs and this business funding that's available to all business owners in the country. So we're swamped in a very good way, and we're currently helping a lot of people. We also had this opportunity last year where, you know, PPP was available, it was brand new, and we helped a whole lot of small businesses get funded. So when you are in the financial space, this is a recession-proof business, I would say, because as long as people are making money, they're going to want to learn how to keep that money, right? And so I'm sure there are two types of people that are here today, right? You're either looking to save more, spend more time with your family, or make more money. And so that's what I've been able to do by starting my tax business and leveraging my knowledge in this space. Was exactly that. Retired myself from corporate America by 30 years old. I've been running my own firm, and I've grown into a professional that, you know, literally started from just a side hustle of doing taxes when I was in college. So we'll get more into a little bit about the actual tax space. So what I've learned after working with hundreds of clients, and as was already discussed about me, is that most people only have extra money when it comes to payday or during tax time. As soon as the money comes in, it goes out. And most people are living off of one source of income or little to no investments, right? And for me at that time, when I first started my business, I was maybe 19 years old, literally 19 years old when I started my tax business. And I knew that I didn't want to be that. I was working at Merrill Lynch at the time. My manager, the last thing I remember is one of the first things he told me, but the last thing I remember when I was going out on my own to live on my own, get my own apartment, was that never live paycheck to paycheck. And that has always stuck with me, because even as a 19-year-old college student working at Merrill Lynch, I could, I would look around me and know that I didn't want to be a lot of the people that were around me. So I had to figure something else out. And that's what sparked the idea of me learning how to do taxes. I was already working in the financial space, literally went to an H&R Block, and they charged me about $500 to do my taxes as a college student. And that was literally the spark that I needed to get my business started. What I've learned over the years is that there are 4 secrets to success. You need to figure out a way to buy back your time. You have to learn a new skill that will allow you to make and replace your work income. Of course, we're never talking down on jobs, but it's going to be your skills that's going to, number one, keep you in the job. And it's going to be your skills that can pay you forever. You want to separate yourself, right? You want to separate yourself from negativity. You've got to sacrifice some time for now. You may have to sacrifice some money. You may have to sacrifice some friends. But when you're in the stages of building and striving for success, that sacrifice is necessary. And most importantly is that you need to be saving for later, right? So while I was working my corporate job, the way that I was able to comfortably leave and take that step was I was saving. And I had my little side small tax business that I was building. And so that extra income also helped me save and stay out of debt. And at the end of the day, the only thing that works is work. So you have to, this is a business that you have to work, right? So let's get a little bit into the customers that you will have in a tax business. Typically, customers are confused. They're in a rush, right? They're mostly looking for convenience, and they want to work with someone that they can trust. And for the most part, taxes in the US, the average person, they're either going to do it themselves or they're going to go to one of the big box chain members, right? So you've got the H&R Block, Liberty Tax, or they can do it themselves via TurboTax. That's where the bulk of the people are going to go. But there is a big portion of people that get their taxes prepared by individuals such as you and I. So let's talk about the people that actually do taxes. As of 2018, there were 754,000 P10s issued in the country. And a P10 is essentially the number that you'll need in order to be able to file taxes on your client's behalf. It's the first step. You can Google it, but I wouldn't try to just start there because that's not all you need. But there were 750,000 people that have P10s in this country, and that means that they're filing taxes on someone's behalf. Of that 754,000, you've got 30,000 that are attorneys, little over 215,000 that are CPAs, less than 500 enrolled actuaries, about 55,000 enrolled agents, and 746 enrolled retirement plan agents, right? So what does that leave? That leaves 451,982 normal people like you and I that have their P10 and are preparing taxes professionally for people in this world. 451,000 people, normal people. They're not accountants, they're not CPAs, they're not lawyers, they're not retirement plan agents, right? They're normal people just like you and I. So here's some myths about this industry and this business is that you must be certified in order to do taxes. A lot of people think that you might have a degree. Some people shy away from this space because they feel like they have to work in accounting before or have some kind of accounting experience, or that you must be financially savvy. Those are all myths. While all of these things can help you, they are not necessary or required for you to start a business in this industry. let me tell you a little bit about the truth about this space. This is an $11 billion industry. 37% of the businesses are run by a single person. 53% employ less than 10 people. And so what that says to me is that if 53% of this $11 billion industry employs less than 10 people, that means that those 10 people can make a really good living if they're getting a piece of this $11 billion industry, right? Another great thing is that you provide a service to every American that because they're legally required to do this every single year. So if they work, they have to file a tax return, right? So those are all the people, everyone around you is a prospect, okay? In 2018, there were 250 million tax returns filed. This year, it's been a little interesting, of course, with all of the tax laws that have come out and the stimulus and all of that. But of course, the population is always charting upwards. So this 250 million has definitely increased since 2018. Let's talk about the earnings potential as a professional in this space. So the average price, let's say you started this business, little side hustle while you're in school. And this is exactly when I started. I was in college. And let's say you have 20 clients in your first year. 10 of those clients are personal tax returns, just straight up regular 1040s. And 10 of those clients are going to be small business clients, and their average price is going to be, or let's just say your average price at the time is $450. You could make $72.50. Now, $72.50 may not sound like a whole lot of money to you, but tell me, what would you have to do at your current job in order for you to make an additional $7,000 this year? Okay, calculate those hours up for me. It's going to take time. And the great thing about this business is that it's seasonal. As you know, tax season is typically January to April 15th. So you can make an extra $7,200 in the first quarter of every single year, even if you only started out with just 20 clients. Now, let's say you're like, okay, maybe this is your second year in business, or you're already a business professional and you're adding tax as a service and you have a little center of influence. Let's say you have 50 clients in your first year. If you do 25 and 25 personal and business, average pricing $275 and $450, you're looking at $18,000 that you can make in the first quarter of this year, every single year going forward. Now, let's say you are you already own a credit repair business, or you're in the insurance space and you already have a bunch of prospects or businesses, and this is going to be an extra line of business for you. And you're looking to add this as an additional value add to your clients. This business at an average price, $275 and $450 respectively, you can make an additional $100,000 in the first quarter of this and every single year going forward. Right. And as I've stated, most people are filing their tax returns by April 15th. So this is literally, money that will definitely help you with whatever kind of goals that you have. But it really gets scary when you look at that over a 5-year commitment. So even if you are only keeping your 20 clients for 5 years, you've now been able to make and create an extra $36,000 of wealth for yourself and your family. If you have 20 clients. If you're keeping your 50 clients, you're not looking to grow, 50 clients is all you can handle in a 4-month period, fine. You've made an additional $90,000 over a 5-year period, right? That can now be your 20% down payment on a very nice home. So you get the picture. The reason that I love this business is because, as I've stated, once you learn this skill of tax prep, I mean, for me, it's been a never-ending journey. I found that I really love it. I love helping clients. I love being able to provide value to people. And, me personally, I took this on as a profession. It wasn't just a side hustle once I graduated college and moved on from corporate America, right? I was able to really turn this into a business that supports my family. And I have a team that I also support. So, I love this business for those reasons. But of course, let's get this out of the way. Of course, for you, if you learn this skill, this is a lifetime skill that you can have. No one can take that from you. Everyone needs to file taxes every year. So you're going to have recurring customers. Those recurring customers are going to come with recurring referrals, right? Tax prep is a mandatory tax that all Americans must do every year. And then, of course, the average pricing that we've already discussed. Let's skip over that. So I do offer training to help people get started in this space. I also offer a higher level training for accountants or tax professionals that are trying to leave corporate and build a viable business in the financial services space, right? So in order to start a tax business, you're going to want to make sure that you have your business registration, you get registered with the IRS. You're going to have some kind of certification as a tax preparer and get that training that you need. You want to learn how to do business tax prep. As more business owners are coming into, just into existence, right? This current climate is forcing people to become entrepreneurs and business owners, and they have to file business taxes. So you position yourself in your center of influence as a professional. You'll have many, many clients that will be coming to you. We also train on marketing and branding, workflow, customer service. We help you set up a virtual office. I've also been running my business virtually. As I said, I started this business while I was working full-time at Merrill Lynch. I was also a full-time college student taking 18 credits a semester. So I did this very, very part-time, right? And I started it as a virtual business. And of course, at this point, when a lot of businesses are trying to pivot into having a virtual business, we've already been there for the last 12 years. So we train you on how to have your virtual, your business fully virtual, and you can work compliantly with your clients. Brand building, right? So your professional personal brand is going to be most important in this space, because honestly, people can do their taxes for themselves, right? So why are they going to come to you? They're mostly going to come to you because of you. And they're mostly going to come to your business because of you and the brand and the trust that you build with clients. So building your professional brand is definitely important. And then, of course, customer acquisition strategies is going to be like the next level of what you need to learn in order to build and grow a sustainable business in this space. So what's next? What can you expect if you start, let's say you wanted to just start taxes just to give it a try, right? Here are some additional career paths that you can take, just by having a little curiosity in wanting to start a tax business. For me, it's allowed me to become a financial advisor. I am also an accountant. I've been a corporate accountant for over 10 years, and now I do that on the small business level, helping many small business clients streamline their organizational finances. I am also a licensed life insurance agent, and you can sell life insurance and annuities to clients that are looking to protect their assets or build wealth. You can also be a trusted business consultant. So as you grow in this space, as you grow your knowledge as a tax professional, you will become a trusted advisor of sorts to a lot of your clients. So this is just not, it can be a little quarterly business that you do every single year until you get time to focus on it. But this will also open so many doors for you where you now have the clientele, you now have built up the trust, and you can add on additional revenue streams. Credit repair agency is another great financial stream in this financial services space, as well as notary publics. Me personally, I find great joy in helping specifically minority accountants, because there is only a 1% population of minority accountants in this country. So I find great joy in helping minority accountants figure their way out of corporate and into this space, because there's so many businesses that need you. And the reason that we perish is for lack of knowledge. So we work with our clients in educating them on taxes, finances, organizational structure, helping them gain confidence in their finances, so that they can feel more financially literate and build wealth for them and for their family. So that is the end of my presentation. Thank you guys so much for listening. I'm Shaniqua Nicole, president of Opulence Financial Group. If you would like to stay in touch with me, you can do so via my website, opulencefinancialgroup.com, and you can read more about me personally at shaniquanicole.com. And please join our mailing list at Opulence Financial Group. If you would like to follow me on social, you can do so at Shaniqua Nicole, Facebook, Instagram, or Money Maven Club is where we share inspiration and financial tips on Instagram. Thank you guys so much for your attention. I hope that you find something that works for you. If you have ever had any inkling of wanting to learn more about the tax business, we do host an annual cohort where we help tax professionals start their businesses from the ground up. That typically is going to start in the summertime. So get in touch, join our email list, opulencefinancialgroup.com. You can go to Messenger and send your name, phone number, email address, and then you will be on our email list. We look forward to serving you. Have a great day.
All right. Thank you so much, Shaniqua. That was amazing.
Yes, it was.
Amazing. All right. We're just going to keep rolling on. So we're going to go on to our second speaker. Her name is Lauren Ryan. So let me tell you a little bit about Lauren. Lauren is the co-owner of Wildflower Salon and Barbershop in Flagstaff, Arizona. She has been a licensed cosmetologist since 2011. She started doing hair independently 5 years into her career. Then she started her own brick and mortar, Wildflower Salon, with her sister in July of 2019. Wildflower is more than a locally owned and operating business for Lauren. It's a symbol of independence, persistence, trust, and a little sprinkle of magic. Please welcome to the stage, Lauren Ryan. Woo!
All right, Lauren.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here. I'm so grateful to share my experience. I'm here today to just encourage an alternative way to be successful. I can safely assume everyone here understands what a trades job is or what a vocational school is. So I just want to share with you how I've navigated my way from school to now owning my own business. I chose a trade because high school was a struggle for me. I was not an academic person at all. You know, my peers around me were applying for colleges and figuring out their 5-year plan. And I was just happy enough to be done with school. I didn't want to go back for another 4 years. Community college and much less a university just didn't offer anything I was interested in. So the appeal of going to school for 1 year, I was all for that. So I chose cosmetology based on just doing my own hair in my bathroom since I was in 7th grade. And it was fun and it was creative, and I was definitely an artist. So that's the route I chose. Once I chose that, the time was to enroll in school. So I called the local cosmetology schools and they gave me a tour. I got to see what the school was like. I got to see the atmosphere, get a feel for what it would be like. And I imagined myself being there, which I think is really important for when you're starting something new or going to a new school. If you can imagine yourself there and you feel good about it, then you should do it. So what school was like for me was really fun, actually. Cosmetology school is very fun. With my tuition, I had a kit of every tool I ever needed to do hair. And for the first 10 weeks, we learn on a doll head. So we called it a mannequin head. It has hair, and that's how you learn how to do hair. So one day a week, we would bring in a live model to practice what we learned. And so, for example, 4 days out of the week, we would learn a haircut on the doll. And then that 5th day, we would do it on a real person. Extremely terrifying to do something you've only been learning for 4 days on a real person. But your teachers are there for you every step of the way, guiding you and helping you. And for the rest of the year, I was taking clients just like a normal salon. And I was studying and taking tests on the theory of hairdressing. So after school, I landed a job. I worked at a corporate salon for 5 years. I learned so much in that environment. The best thing was they had tons of education. And after school, you know, you're not a master. In Arizona, cosmetology school is 1,600 hours, and they say you need 10,000 hours to become a master at something. So it was very far off from that. So the continuing education at the salon I was working at was super cool. I learned a lot. I also learned what didn't work for me in this corporate setting. The number one thing that I learned didn't work for me was that I didn't like being told what to do. And that wasn't an ego thing. I just could see my potential, and where I was at showed me, for me, that my choices were limited. So if I wanted to do better and be better, I had to leave that environment that I felt held me back. So I left. This is when I began my journey of entrepreneurship. At that time, I was about 5 years in of doing hair. And if you break that down, that's, you know, 40-hour work weeks over 5 years, that's well over 10,000 hours of experience. So thinking about it that way helps me with my confidence and knowing that I could do this, I could work for myself. So I became an independent hairstylist. I paid rent to the owner of the salon, and everything else was up to me. I got to make my own schedule. I made my own pricing, set my own prices for my services, and I got to use whatever product I wanted. At this point, it was really, I really saw what being an entrepreneur was like. Sometimes when you work for yourself, you risk seeing a paycheck every 2 weeks. So, you know, I was risking seeing a paycheck. I was crossing my fingers that my clients would come find me after I left the salon I was at for 5 years. And then also managing all of my own finances. It's a lot of work, it's a lot of responsibility, but it's all worth it. I'll tell you that. They say it takes a village to raise a child, but I think the same goes for entrepreneurship. It's a lot of work to manage your own business, but when you get to that stage, it's inevitable that you're surrounded by like-minded people, and those people are there to help you and to guide you. I think it's so important to know that who and what you surround yourself with dictates a lot of what your future accomplishments look like. And being my own boss has taught me how to be responsible for myself. It's taught me to show up for others, and it kind of forces you to be responsible, because if you become irresponsible, you have a lot to lose, right? Because you did all of that work, so you don't want to lose it. It also taught me how to be smart with money. When you see every dollar you make every single day, it really puts it into perspective of how much effort you put in, and that feeling becomes addictive. You crave it. For me, that was my motivation. Me putting in the own work and instantly seeing results. So now, almost 2 years ago now, I opened my own salon with my sister, and everything I've shared with you, from school to the different places I've worked at, her and I did it together. We had a 7-year-long shared experience as professionals. It was only natural to open our own salon when the current salon we were at sold her business. And we had the skills. We had a team of stylists who were also going to need a new salon to work at. And we had our own ideas and dreams of what our salon would be like. So with all that being said, there's no doubt that I'm an advocate for pursuing a career with a trade skill. You can climb a ladder, you can climb a corporate ladder and finally reach that ceiling, or you can climb a ladder that goes on for infinity. There's no ceiling. The options are endless, there are no limitations, because you and only you are in control of your future. And that's the most appealing aspect of being your own boss, answering to nobody but yourself and trusting you have what it takes to be successful. Last but not least, you guys, the demand for trades jobs is at an all-time high and it's growing. Look into what your local vocational schools have to offer, or even look into apprenticing. Apprenticing is super cool because you can make money while you train, and go for it. Don't wait. The time is now. Learn a trade, get your 10,000 hours in, get your experience, and then you'll see the doors open up. I promise. Thank you guys for your time. I'm Lauren. I'm the owner of Wildflower Salon in Flagstaff, Arizona. And I think the girls, Tammy and Gabrielle, are gonna post all of our socials, so you can see those later. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Thank you, Lauren.
Thank you, Lauren. Thank you so much. That is just fabulous, fabulous, fabulous. Right. So definitely if you're interested in vocational training, things like being a hairdresser or even electrician, plumber, it is definitely on demand. We definitely encourage you to go for it. All right, so we're just going to roll right on to our third speaker. His name is Jacob Wodowitz. Jacob Wodowitz. Want to make sure I get that name. All right, so let me tell you about Jacob. Jacob Wodowitz is the current owner and founder of Jacob Snow Removal. He is, wait for it, a 16-year-old entrepreneur currently in the 10th grade at Wando High School. Jacob Snow Removal offers residential and commercial snow shoveling and plowing. Currently holding over 120 contracts, including some big-name brands like Costco, Lululemon, TD Bank, and Target. Jacob Snow Removal has grown to be the best and largest snow removal company serving the North Shore of Long Island. Please welcome to the stage, Jacob Wodowitz. Woo!
Hello, everyone. Thank you for this opportunity. I appreciate it. Let me get the view set up here, and let's get started. So thank you for the opportunity. I am 16 years old. I am a 10th grader at Wando High School. I moved down to Charleston, South Carolina about a month ago. But before that, I was living in New York, Port Washington, Long Island, for about 3 years. And prior to that, I lived in Port Washington with my father's job. We got moved around. So before Port, I was in California. I grew up in Atlanta, Georgia, and I've kind of been all over the place to experience different cultures and diversity. And I've really got a grasp for, how people are and what people need. So when I was about 13, 14 years old, me and my older brother, we would go out and during the snowstorms, and we would go door to door knocking to shovel driveways. And ever since we were kids, our parents always taught us to, you have to work for what you want. Our parents, they didn't want us to just be handed everything. They wanted us to work for it and to learn the value of a dollar bill and how important that was. So when I got back to Port Washington, I was you know, starting to get bigger client base going door to door. So I decided to turn it into a business by myself. My brother at that point went on to college at the University of Alabama, and I was approaching about 14, 15 years old. So I created Jacob Snow Removal. I have about 120 contracts currently with big names like Miss Gabrielle stated, TD Bank, Costco, Target, Lululemon. So, you know, having those big contracts on top of many other clients in our local town and zip codes takes a big responsibility, as well as customers being happy with the product you provide. You know, at the end of the day, you're providing a service, I think, in many trades that you provide a service that you want your customers to be happy, because if they're not happy, they're not going to come back. So I think a big step and a big part of working with a trade is being able to interact with your client, make your client happy, and want them to come back. And I think creating a connection with your client and your customer is very important. And another aspect of an entrepreneur for me at my age, which a lot of kids are moving towards, is balance. You know, I am in 10th grade, I am in high school. So balancing school, sports, work, business, you know, everything else that happens in your life, family, it's definitely a challenge, but you have to find the time and you have to be strict with yourself, because if you don't, then nothing's going to work. I think that so far, I was working, especially when it snows during the winters, when your busy season is, obviously, and you know, during the summer you're not worried about snow. So I took advantage of being the warm weather, and especially on the North Shore of Long Island, the salt water affects a lot of people's homes. So pressure washing of boats, driveways, garages, windows, everything came into play. So I went into that branch, but then the pandemic hit. And so that was definitely a challenge. You know, part of being a trade and part of forming a connection with your client is to interact with them face to face and, you know, feel the energy and create your own energy that your company, you know, you cultivate. And I think that was very hard being able to do it virtually. You know, we held estimates virtually, we held, you know, dealing with customers and payments and issues all virtually. So there really wasn't that human interaction, which I think many people have been longing for this whole year. And I think that now with what we have going on, I think now we can sort of get back to that and try to cultivate that experience again for clients, because that's a big help for your client and your employees to interact. I think it kind of brings everyone's morale higher, coming to work, you know, performing, doing what you're doing. And another aspect of starting my own business was income. My goals in the future are real estate investment and investing in finance. So I had to find that capital to be able to pursue that dream. So business and doing snow removal was that option. Snow removal, private snow removal is a $16.8 billion industry. So there's definitely that money to be made. It's just about you getting out there and working for it. Right now, you know, there's a possibility that, especially with snow, you know, it can be so unpredictable. Like last year, we had one snowstorm. This year, we've had about 8 so far. So like I said, I moved to Charleston, South Carolina. So I turned that income of snow removal and getting out there and working for it more into a passive income. So I have managers and I have contacts in New York currently who are handling the everyday snow shoveling and plowing and the customer contact. So that passive income is still coming in, and we're creating more opportunity for not only other people to have jobs, but also more clients to be taken care of. I think that it's very easy for anyone to start, depending whatever business, you know, as long as you have you're driven to start it and you have focus, you know, it can be easy, as long as you have balance. And easily snow removal or pressure washing, you know, you, on average, you can almost make $85,000 in one season to $100,000. So there's the money to be made. And I think that's a lot, a thing in many different industries. It's just about how hard you work for it, and how strategic you plan your business and how you attack what you want. I think another driven factor was to not live paycheck to paycheck. I've seen people, influencers, people around the world, especially during the pandemic, who many families and have struggled from money, and living paycheck to paycheck has never been something that I wanted to experience personally. And having, a lot of people say, have 3 paychecks in the bank, just in case something happens, have 3 paychecks. But moving forward, I wanted to create an income for myself, a passive income, and a portfolio income. I've tried those jobs, the restaurant jobs, the deli jobs, and landscaping, as normal teenagers do, your first jobs, but I wanted something stronger and something that was my own. I've always liked to work for myself, and creating my own environment where I'm going to thrive personally. I had the opportunity to have to work with a trade business. They did upholstery and boat canvassing in New York. So I worked in the beginning of the pandemic when I was virtual in school. From the summer to the pandemic, I worked until about August, and then into March, and when the pandemic hit. So I got to experience, what hands-on working is like, and to deal with customers, and everything moved online. But you still have these, jobs that people still need to go into work: plumbing, being an electrician, people who can't do their work from online. And the amount of support that these businesses really need right now, as everything's moving online, but people can't forget about how we have these businesses around that still need our support and still need the work, because they need to still stay afloat. And I think that especially now, the job market has definitely changed. So I think it's kind of, you have to take your own initiative and create what you want to be successful in these days. And, moving forward, like I said, I'm interested in business and finance and real estate investment. So that's something that you can create for yourself. And it doesn't even have to be a full-time position. It can be something that you can work on, create a passive income by yourself, after work, on your weekends, on your off days. It doesn't have to be that full time, and it just creates that financial security that a lot of people are looking for. So again, that's kind of about what I do and kind of my purpose for this. But I appreciate the opportunity. Again, my name is Jacob Wodowitz, and I'm the owner of Jacob Snow Removal in Long Island. I'm going to put my information into the chat. Feel free to ask any questions or contact me if you have any other needs or concerns. I will be happy to contact. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jacob. That was awesome.
Yes, thank you so much. It's so cool.
Lots of great feedback in the comments as well. All right, so let me go ahead and get out of this mode. All right, so that was the first half of our presentations today. We're actually going to do just like a 5-minute intermission, and then continue on with the raffle. And we have 3 remaining speakers, so please don't go too far. We'll just take a quick 5-minute intermission.
Right, and just to jump in, so while we're doing the intermission, if you guys have any questions, feel free to post them in the chat. We definitely want you to get as much information as possible. So if you have any questions for our speakers or for Tammy and myself, feel free to post it in the chat.
All right, so we're actually going to go ahead and do our first raffle of the day. So this one is going to be, there's more people coming in. This raffle is going to be for a $50 Target gift card.
Woo!
All right, so let's see who our winner is for today. All right, looks like the $50 gift card goes to Takesha Jolly.
Woo! Awesome.
All right.
So put
Okay,
your
so-
email in the chat. Yeah, Takesha, that's her name?
Yep, Takesha.
Takesha, yes. Please put your email in the chat so you can claim your prize. Awesome.
All right, so let's go ahead and keep things going. Our next speaker, her name is Lisa Ludwig. And Lisa is the CEO of She Trains You Incorporated. She's also the president of the Long Island Women's Firearm Club. She's the president of, I hope I'm saying this right, Nassau County Women's Firearm Club, and chapter leader and certified trainer for A Girl and a gun shooting league. And she is also Glock certified. Do not want to mess with Lisa. Lisa is also an avid martial arts and kung fu and jujitsu. She has been in the shooting world for the past 20 years, but really got into it 3 years ago. Her goals and aspirations are to make all women feel comfortable and safe when going to the shooting range, and also to teach women how to defend themselves properly against any attacker. All right.
Please welcome to the stage.
Welcome to the stage, Lisa.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the introduction. Everybody hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Okay, thank you. I appreciate this opportunity to speak to everybody. I just really want to just talk about the first couple of speakers that you guys had. I think the common threading here between all of us is that we're really hardworking individuals. And without hard work, you know, you can make anything work. So really your life is about a series of choices. And it's how you make those choices, and what those choices are is really what will define you as an entrepreneur. So, you know, I started my company 18 months ago when it was pre-pandemic. You know, prices for everything were normal. And, you know, I saw actually a video, a ring video of someone actually almost getting attacked. And it was close to my neighborhood, and it really scared me. And I've been in firearms, like you introduced me. And basically, you know, I reached out in one of the groups saying, you know, would anybody like to learn, you know, firearms? And next thing you know, a bunch of women, about 50 of them, were like, me. And I was like, wow, you know, I'm really onto something. So I wound up going to get my NRA certifications, you know, pistol, rifle, as well as, you know, being a Glock certified armorer, you know, being the shooting league captain and all this other stuff, you know, continually building my resume in the firearms industry. A woman being a firearms instructor is a complete niche type of industry. There's not many women doing this. So don't think just because, you know, you're a girl that you can't play with firearms. They're just as fun. So honestly, I came from a humble background. I came from somewhat of a poor family, and I was a high school dropout. I was really bad with authority, and you know, I did jobs here and there. I wound up going to school to be an engineer. I became an engineer. And, you know, sometimes when you're making money, that's not always the answer. You know, you want to be happy. And I found that my passion working with firearms was really the right answer for me, because every time I went to go to the range and shoot, or even if I watch someone shooting, I don't feel like I'm working. And that saying goes, and it's so true, that if you find something that you love to do, you'll never work a day in your life. And to me, that is so important, because I don't want to wake up every day and dread going to work. Because previous to this job or to this company, I hated working for people, just like other people have said, and that's why we're entrepreneurs, right? We don't like working for other people. But it's okay. It doesn't mean you're bad with authority. It just means that you need to make your own way. So when the pandemic hit, I was affected a little bit, because obviously I couldn't go to the range because, we couldn't really be next to each other. But I did provide online training at the time. And at the time, everybody was running to the gun store trying to find a firearm to protect themselves. And it was a little scary, because, these are all new shooters, and they're coming, they're bringing these firearms home. And next thing you know, if something, they happen to use it, it's something that'll go through like 12 homes. You can't, there's applications for certain firearms. you can't bring a firearm home and expect it to be okay. And then next thing you know, it's going through people's houses. So, training is really, really important. And this is kind of where once, we were able to open again, my companies blew up. We were nonstop with women who were scared. And they didn't want to learn from the tactical type of guy. They didn't want to feel stupid. They didn't want to feel condescending, like they were being like a condescending tone, like, you should know that. Oh, that's not a clip, that's a magazine. Come on, that's not how it should be. So when the young gentleman said customer service, that really, struck a chord with me, because I am all about customer service. I am all about that customer experience, because when I have that timid female, or males, I do have males that I train, come in either to my club or personally, you can see on their face that they're like, oh my God, like they're so tense, and you can just see it all over them. But like, give it about a half hour with me, and that whole wall comes down, and next thing you know, they're laughing and they're having the time of their life. And next thing you know, they're like, where do I buy one? So, if you approach this in a safe manner and in a fun manner, I mean, you're just going to bang it out of the park. And this is why I was so successful, is because I wasn't the tactical type of dude. I was cool. I was fun to work with. And if I'm not just fun, my crew is fun too, because if they're not fun, they're not working with me. Your crew has to be just as good as you are, because you know what, at the end of the day, they're representing you too. And, you can't say, oh, well, Barry, he's got an attitude. No, Barry should not have an attitude. Okay. We're about customers. And if, you know what, there's other firearms instructor companies all over the place. I am not the only, cherry in the world here. There's other fruits on this tree. So for you to be like that isn't a good entrepreneur space. I also want to talk about how, especially in this space, and probably in a lot of other male-dominated spaces, it's not very inclusive. It's very inclusive. It's not, they don't really go outside their little circle, and it's very tough to break in. But I don't want you guys to be thrown off by that. Don't. Make your own waves, like I do my own thing, and people are watching. And you know what? I don't care what people say. Enough for nothing. As you can tell, I'm a lesbian. I ain't gonna lie. Okay, I'm not your everyday, girly girl with a dress. I'm not. Okay, and that's another demographic I have to deal with. I'm a woman, and I'm a gay woman on top of it. So, it's a lot. And if I'm not for you, that's okay. There's so many other fish in this sea. I don't have to dwell on that. It's okay. We can move on, so just something to think about, that I don't want you guys to get, thrown off by starting your own niche. A lot of people told me that what I was doing wasn't going to work. And boy, did I prove them wrong, like you wouldn't believe, right? I'm different. I am not a normal like pay as you go. I actually do a membership program. So I don't care whether you come to me, and I mean, I care. I want you there. I want to train you, of course. But I don't care if you don't show up. I still get my money. Just like the young man said, passive income, that's the key. That's the key to the future. You don't got to be there. Cool. So you got to think outside the box. Don't let people pigeonhole you into their ideas. You think of your idea. And when I thought of my idea, boom, I exploded. I'm all over Facebook. Everybody, knows Lisa, the trainer. I don't want to say the crazy lady with the gun, but but anyway, but yes. So I just want to wrap it up that, finding your niche, that's what it's about. Don't worry about the pandemic. That was a minor hurdle. We're over that now. We're kind of opening up again. Let's just focus on, customer service, finding your niche and being you. Like, don't be other people. They're already them. There's enough of them. Be you. And no one can ever duplicate that. So if you're authentic, you're good with people, you could talk to people, you have a great customer service, you have a good team to back you up. I mean, that is literally this, I'm like getting chills when I speak about it, but that's literally like the secret sauce. It's the secret sauce. So thank you, ladies. My name is Lisa Ludwig, or gentlemen. My name is Lisa Ludwig. I am the owner of many companies, but one of them is a She Trains You, and also the Long Island Women's Firearm Club, the Nassau County Women's Firearm Club, and I actually opened the Brooklyn Women's Firearm Club, because I know there's a lot of Brooklyn women's here. So if you Brooklyn ladies want to get your shoot on, you come talk to me. I see you, Gabrielle. I see you, girl. All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Obviously, they're putting our information in the chat, and I'm always here to help anybody, succeed. So thank you again, and please have a great night.
I love it. Thank you so much, Lisa. That was awesome.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you for dropping those gems. I love what you said about thinking outside the box. That's so important, especially in the times that we live in. You have to be innovative. This is the time of innovation. So great advice. Great advice there. All right. So next we have Shamika. Shamika is the founder and CEO of Catalyst Event Coaching LLC, which is an event coach, and she's an event coach and consultant that combines her love for events and education to empower others with the knowledge of effective event management. As a chemist that fell in love with the event management and hospitality industry, Shamika is a certified meeting professional, CMP, with over 15 years of experience, and has managed over 1,200 events for distinctive global clients. She is focusing on empowering people with the necessary education and tools needed to plan events effectively. Through her understanding of what works, what does not work, and why it works, she is able to provide her clients with a detailed and comprehensive plan for the successful implementation of any event. And in addition to her primary job functions, she is skilled in strategic planning, team engagement, and risk management. Shamika holds a bachelor's degree in both business management and chemistry, with a mathematics minor from Albany State University, and a master's degree in hospitality management and tourism. She enjoys living in the aha moments as well as spending quality times with loved ones. Let's welcome Shamika.
Woo!
Thank you. Well, thank you, ladies, for having me here. It's been a pleasure being here with all of the speakers, so I'm excited. That intro was so detailed. I may skip some parts of what I was going to go over today because it covered it. But as you mentioned, my company is called Catalyst Event Coaching, and basically I help nonprofit organizations as well as growing companies to meet at the intersection of purpose and profit for their events. So I do that through event coaching, training, and consulting. And she mentioned as well that I have a CMP, which is a certified meeting planner, professional certification. And I'm going to go in a little bit more detail about what that is a little bit later, but I did want to preface that before I forget it, because when I go into it, I may. And then I just want to go into a little bit of my history of my background, because she mentioned a lot of degrees that some people may say, what does this have to do with anything? How did we get here? So what I would say is, I, like many people, especially when I was growing up, I was smart, but I actually wanted a job that paid me a lot of money. So I was like, okay, what am I good at that will also get me a lot of money? So that was my focus. And would I say those things brought me joy? Yes, but not from a passion standpoint. And so I pursued actually a chemical engineering degree is what I was going after. And in the midst of doing that, I joined a nonprofit membership-based organization that introduced me to events. And the students did all of the events and everything. We were supported by a headquarters team. But in doing so, I learned so much about events. I mean, I couldn't have gotten that experience anywhere else. And I was like, okay, this is what I want to do. This is my passion. I knew even before I did that I wanted to go that route eventually. In my mind, I was going to be an engineer. And then as a side hustle, I was going to do events eventually, and then break off into full time when I just felt like I built up my client base. And that was the intent. But once I got a chance to actually be involved with events with the organization, I learned that I actually want to do this and I can't wait. Like, my passion wouldn't allow me to wait. So with that being said, because I was already getting those degrees, I wanted to make sure that my work was worth something. So in case I changed my mind, I went ahead and completed them. But I did go ahead and get a master's in hospitality management and tourism. However, I will pause on that because that program was very different. That program was very similar to a lot of vocational schools where you have the opportunity to do study as well as get practical experience. So half of my degree was actually doing research and all of those types of things that you would do in a Master's of Science program. And then the other half was actually getting out in the field and doing the work. So we were consulting and things like that with local companies nearby. So it was an awesome experience. That's part of why I wanted to go through that particular program. One of my friends told me about it and I was like, this is perfect. So, and it didn't help, or I guess I should say it did really help that it was in Orlando, Florida, which is where a lot of events happen. It's one of the top tourism areas and event areas in the country. So it just made perfect sense for me to come here. So from there, I was working in hotels, and I worked in hotels majority of the time in the events industry that I've been involved. But about a year and a half ago, I realized that I wanted to change. I wanted to spend more time at home with my family. So I left my company, didn't know what that was going to look like. I just decided, you know what, I'm going to figure out something else. I love still being in events, but there has to be another way because hotels are 24-hour operations. And it was fun in the beginning. So I don't want anybody to think anything negative about hotels. It's one of those things that you never know what's going to happen. And if you like that excitement, it's great. But since they never close, after a while, it can kind of get a little bit tiresome, especially if you have family and other obligations. So I was like, okay, what am I going to do? And the intent was to find something else. But I was running from my goal when I came down here, which was to actually start a company as soon as I got my degree. And to be honest, I am a third generation entrepreneur. And so I had a chance to see up close and personal what that really looks like. So there are pros and cons to it, I would definitely say. There are a lot of good bits of information I got out of it from a business management standpoint, but I also had an opportunity to see that they were away from family. sometimes, not all the time. We still had time with them, but they were away from family, or family got very involved in the business. So it was one of the two that actually happened. And so in doing that, I was like, I don't know if I want to do an actual business, but I thought about it. And what businesses, when you start your own, can do for you is you paint that picture. You decide exactly what that looks like. You make the rules. And so that's what I did. I started thinking about what was important to me, as well as what else I wanted to do to keep my passion. And so in my personal case, I love events, but at the same time, events a lot of times happen at night as well as on the weekends, which takes away time from my family. So what I decided to do to work for me is I decided to do event training and coaching, teach others how to do events, because oftentimes you can find somebody that plans the event for you, which is great, and I do that sometimes, but you don't often get a chance to find somebody to train you through that process, to see exactly what it looks like so that your team can do it themselves. And so that's what I decided to kind of focus on. It is something that made total sense for me, because when I look at my background, one of the important things with my background is every job I've ever had, I've been a trainer. I've trained in each and every position. I am actually an adjunct instructor as well in hospitality. So these are skills and things that I was doing already. Why not include them in my business? And so that's exactly what I did. I decided to make it my own. And so Catalyst Event Coaching was born in the midst of a pandemic. And so with that, in the midst of a pandemic, it did slightly change the approach for the business, because obviously events was probably the hardest hit. Well, I should say hospitality, but most certainly events was the hardest hit industry for this pandemic, because you can't meet, and for events you need to meet. So I did have to pivot and change gears to see what was going on currently, what I needed to kind of do to stay relevant. And that really transitioned me to go into digital events. So that's more of what my concentration has been. There are some events that are coming back now, and I am still helping clients along with those events, but I've been concentrating primarily in virtual event spaces to help people. A lot of people think they can handle it themselves, and sometimes you can. It depends on the scope of your event and what you're trying to do with the event, but other times you need support, or you just want somebody to take care of it totally. You just want to show up and do your part, and that's it. And so I actually help people with that process, whether I do it myself from a producer standpoint, I put that together, or I actually train them on how they can do that process and how to utilize the platforms that they're on. So that's a little bit about me and my background. But I do want to talk a little bit about the industry as it relates to events, as well as hospitality. Hospitality industry is primarily all trades. There aren't many industries that are like that, but hospitality is one of those industries that's primarily all trades. In terms of that, I think there are a handful of jobs that you may need some type of certification, or they ask for a degree. But the thing is, in most cases, the degree is not necessarily relevant to the position you're getting. They just want to know that you have a degree in most cases. So a lot of times in hospitality, you can just come up through the ranks. Some people enter through entry-level positions and just make their way up to whatever their goal career aspirations might be. And so with that, I would go into detail a little bit about the events path. For events, if you want to enter the event space, there are a few ways to do that. One is hotels, similar to what I did. And from that, you don't necessarily have to go directly to be on the events team. You can be like even an administrative professional, which is in general a whole nother category that you can go in, because what I found is that 80% of the people planning events in the industry are administrative professionals. So that's a little tip that a lot of people don't know or recognize. Nonprofits is another area that you can focus on for events, as well as just volunteering for events in organizations that you're a member of or different things like that. A lot of opportunities with nonprofits come up. They ask for volunteers. That's a great way to get experience, to get access to figure out what type of events that you would like to do. And then in terms of certifications, I would say that events is actually not a regulated industry in terms of the general events industry itself. So you don't have a specific type of certification that you must have to actually be in the industry. However, there are plenty of certifications out there. I would say if you're looking to do a certification, that you look to do that through a membership-based organization. There are individuals that actually do their own certifications and everything, but they're not necessarily certifications that are recognized by others, but they may be training and teaching you information. So I would definitely suggest the organization route. If you're looking to do a certification, there are specialized certifications. One of the most popular right now, especially during this pandemic, is the digital event strategist certification that's done through PCMA. And then there's things like certified in exhibit management. So it depends on the area of events that you're looking to focus in, what type of certification may be best fit for you. I will say the most widely known accepted certification is the one that I have, which is the Certified Meeting Professional. That is a global certification. It is beyond just the US. Many of the certifications are just US based, but this is beyond just the US based certification. And like most of the certifications, you actually go through a process of having to learn a lot of information to be able to get these. And most of the ones by membership-based organization require testing. Some of the others don't. So those require testing to make sure that you're proficient in certain areas that they deem important. And then there's other certifications that may be helpful that are software or like area based. So for instance, in the event space, CVent is a popular platform that is being used, as well as even Salesforce is integrated with a lot of different registrations for events and things like that. So if you are familiar with some of these softwares, they do have certifications that you can gain under their umbrella, and it's going to be helpful if you're looking for jobs in conjunction with those softwares. And just to kind of go over some of the industries that you can be a part of as a events industry professional, you can actually be a supplier. Many times those are venue related positions like hotels, convention centers, things like that, the different types of venues. And you could be like a third party where, for instance, like if you are a convention and visitors bureau, you could be a part of some other organizations that just assist people in doing their events. So those are a couple of areas under supplier. You can also be under corporate and nonprofit planners. They're fairly similar. Obviously, their goals are very different, but in terms of the actual functionality of the position, they're very similar if you go into that space. And then independent event professionals is what I would say the final category. These are people that own their own business, and it just depends on what their specialty is, what they actually do. So you could be a designer, you can be a planner, you could be a strategist. There's all sorts of things you can do in this space. You just have to create what that looks like, and people hire you for your services. And then in terms of event types, we have a few different event types. I think people are familiar with some of them and not so with others, but corporate events, for instance, most people know what falls in that category: meetings, trainings, retreats, that type of thing. So the things that are related to your job, when you have to go to an event for your job, those are the ones that typically fall in that area. And then social events, where you're thinking about weddings, celebrations, things like that. And then nonprofits. Nonprofits, a lot of times people directly think about fundraising type events like galas, but they also have other types of events. Your event could be supporting your cause that you do. So I actually am a co-founder of a nonprofit organization myself, and we have all sorts of events. None of them have been fundraising events. So it really just kind of depends on what the purpose of the organization is. So that's a unique space, which is why I kind of left that separate. And then special events. And there are a lot of different types of events that fall up under special events. So it really kind of depends on what your interest is, but this is like festivals, trade shows, sporting events, even production events. So production events would be something like a award show. A lot of times people don't associate that with a event, and it requires a huge production team, but that's essentially what it is. And in the space that we're in right now with the pandemic, a lot of events are production events because they're virtual. They actually require you to have a run of show for the day. You have to have your tech team and all sorts of things. So there are other elements to that. So that's pretty much my rundown that I would say as it relates to events. Obviously, there are plenty of support positions that are also related to events. And those come into play with us all the time. But that's another side of things that you can look at that is also related to trades as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Shamika.
Absolutely.
Yes, awesome. So
Very
awesome.
insightful. A lot of great resources and information. Thank you so much for that. Again, if you guys have any questions for any of the speakers, feel free to post it in the chat, and then we'll have a brief Q&A at the end. All right, so our last speaker of the day his name is Henry Goodleman, promoting sustainability and social entrepreneurship as part of community initiatives focused on building outreach campaigns and furthering the growth of government-funded environmental infrastructure programs. Henry founded the Reju's 5013C for nonprofit in the time that he's taken away from his work in higher education. So Henry, like Shamika, also has a higher education degree. Having dedicated his career to helping support institutional success by continually developing improved student services and campus resources, Henry earned his master's in education, in higher education management from the University of Pittsburgh, and previously served as an administrator at Touro College, Drexel University, Argosy Online, and other academic advising and mentoring programs. So last but not least, we have Henry Goodleman.
Woo! Come to the stage. Woo!
Thanks for having me on, everybody. And I really enjoyed listening and learning from so much of you along the way. And hello there. If you're watching this, that means your school is either showing it to you or you've taken the initiative to learn more about building yourself a career and starting your own business as an entrepreneur, like many of the speakers that you may have already seen, or you're in the process of choosing the direction of your own professional journey. Or maybe you're just seeing what the virtual world market is like in today during the pandemic, or we'll see what happens as we get through it. So let's get to it. My name is Henry Goodleman. Tammy, Gabrielle, thank you so much for welcoming me on and pushing through that. I'm a better speaker than I am a writer of my own bio, apparently. Nonetheless, it's also why I quit doing stand-up comedy. But I did found an organization, and I have worked with many students over the last decade, and both of these are part of why I'm excited to share this presentation with everybody and with you watching this maybe in the future. Relating my experience and encouragement, whenever you may be watching this content will still be helpful. So the organization I founded, it promotes sustainability and social entrepreneurship. It rhymes the word reuse, and it's called Rejuice, but we help everybody. If you live in one of our service markets at least, but we're always expanding and growing. We're in about 9 states right now. And we've even worked internationally with the support of the UN. So it's something I very much enjoy. I live in Brooklyn right now. Certainly, I know we just mentioned some others are here as well. So certainly connecting locally is always great, safely, of course. I'm from Philadelphia and Atlantic City originally. I did go to college and graduate school out in Pittsburgh at the University of Pittsburgh. And before I founded Rejuice, I started my career as a college administrator by trade. I was an academic advisor. I worked in admissions, career services, campus resources, and even alumni relations. Basically everything that could help support institutional success. So if you're just driving to what's going to help the school continue to go, to help the students continue to grow, I was there trying to push along. But right now, as you can see, I still dedicate quite a bit of time to volunteering, and I love just trying to contribute and connect and be supportive, answer questions, and give guidance. On to the importance of having a trade. If you want to have a certain quality of life, you need to be able to support yourself. You need to be able to support your family if that's going to be your role in life, or contribute in a way you can. And if you enjoy what you do, it feels like you're never working in a day in your life anyway. So you want to really find a trade that works for you if that's going to be the path you're going to take. And while doing this for myself, I started helping students on campus start recycling. And that's what led me to start a recycling initiative. And within the recycling initiative at that point there, that's ultimately led me to found this actual 501c3 nonprofit organization to promote sustainability on that bigger scale. Recycling grew into the wider sustainability image, if that makes sense. But then that's the importance of entrepreneurship, because you get to lead your own way forward. And that's an important note there. There's no one telling you where you can't go and what you can do. If it's your own new venture and your own service, you can choose the range of communities you serve. You can choose the network that you target. I've been fortunate to do all of these 3 and then expand beyond my wildest dreams. And it's something, whether it's been in recycling, in solar, these aren't just the environmental benefits. These are infrastructure. This is renewable energy. This is the tremendous and positive environmental benefit, but it's keeping the power on. It's keeping I have a plastic bottle next to me here, but it wasn't on camera. I shouldn't admit that. I'm joking when I say edit that out. I know I'm not expecting anybody to. Hopefully you laughed at this little blurb, but nonetheless, when you're choosing a trade and process of what to do, I like to recall a story where I was working with a young woman. She was a student. She had a lot of experience working with younger children with special needs and developmental disabilities, but she also was an experienced ice skater. I told her to Google the combination of the two. I said, hey, does it exist locally in our area? Are there any developmental disabilities or special needs like support services for ice skating? And there weren't, at least not in New York. And she spent the next year nonstop recruiting volunteers to do just that. And the pictures I saw of the event she held were really inspiring, and obviously very inspiring for the participants too. Another student was someone who had a big vision. He had switched between schools and ultimately wasn't getting accepted. We were deferring him to another school, and he turned us down. He said, I'm not going to do that. He took a non-degree program somewhere else. He began an even better program ahead of that, ultimately graduated, kept building his connections. Ultimately, basically, honestly, I would consider him a media mogul today. He's constantly referenced by across the Gen Z and millennial social media trends, and he had just published in Rolling Stone literally in the last 48 hours his own article. So it's always tremendous, and just it's very rewarding for me to see people that I've worked with in the past, whether I was able to help them or not. Just with them continuing moving forward there. But that's the difference between a trade and a career, especially during the pandemic. You want to be pandemic proof. So even as we near the full rollout of vaccine availability and the virtual world market might be here to stay, no one really knows, but certainly the chaos that we've experienced in the past, hopefully behind us. But now as you look forward, certainly the office dynamic has its benefits, but certainly having people work from home has its benefits too. But people want to save money. People need to save money, but not everybody enjoys admitting it. especially to a stranger. Everybody wants to buy, but not everybody wants to be sold. So your presentation and communication matter. And certainly when it comes down to, as you analyze and address what you're going to be targeting and what ideas you might figure out that you want to pursue and sharing with the world and sharing with your community and making a business and making it your career, whether as an entrepreneur or choosing a trade to go into that direction. Hopefully this insight's made it a little bit more possible and feasible for you. Please be in touch or reach out anytime. My name is Henry Goodleman. I founded Rejuice Recycling and Solar, and I'm posting a couple links in the chat here. Thanks very much for listening in and for watching this, and always feel free, no matter when you see this, to reach out with any questions.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much, Henry. That was amazing. All right, so we've been posting everyone's website and social media information in the chat. So please follow our speakers, like, share, definitely support our speakers. Follow them on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, social media, everything. Follow, follow, follow. All right, so that concludes our speaker portion of the program. Thank you so much for sticking it out with us. So we're going to continue with the raffle. So the next one is, I believe, what is it, Tammy? It's the $100?
Yes, that's the $100 one.
The $100 gift card. Okay, so the winner of that gift card is Beverly Johnson. Beverly Johnson, congratulations. You are the winner of a $100 gift card. So if you could just put your email in the chat, Beverly, and we will send you your prize so you can claim it. That is just awesome, awesome, awesome. Congratulations. All right, and we're going to have just one more raffle. So one more is $100 sponsored of free groceries. Again, that is $100 of free groceries sponsored by me, A Step Ahead Tutoring Services. All right, so the winner of that raffle belongs to Mitchell Riggs. Mitchell Riggs, congratulations. You are the winner of $100 free groceries sponsored by Step Ahead Tutoring Services. If you could just put your email in the chat, I will reach out to you and we can coordinate the details. So that is it for the raffle. Thank you so much for being here. This is amazing. This was our first virtual event. Well, this is my first virtual event. So this is very informative. Thank you to our speakers. So again, follow them on social media, like, share. Let's boost our businesses. Let's boost up our trades. All right, so we have reached the end of our program, and as promised, this is the Q&A section. So we are opening up the floor. So does anyone have any questions for our speakers or questions in general? Feel free to put it in the chat, or if you can turn on your mics and ask any questions you like. So we're opening up the floor. Any questions for our speakers?
Hey, this is Taya. I have a question. So during this pandemic-laced environment, what are you finding is the best marketing resources and tools that you can use that is helping you sustain or grow your business?
Is that for anyone in particular, or is it to anyone?
I would love to.
Nope, that's open for anybody.
Jacob was about to. Jacob, jump in, please.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, really, you, please.
Okay. So from what I've noticed from a lot of other people and myself, I think social media has really taken to be, the prime step in contacting your clients and your customer base, because of the fact that everyone's home and everyone's connected to a device. Nowadays, it's kind of hard to find someone who doesn't have a device, who doesn't have connection to the internet. So I think that's really one of the main ways that I find it successful to reach your customer base.
Awesome. Did anybody else want to add on to that?
Oh, Henry, did you want to answer?
Yes, I'd love to take a shot at that too. So I deal with homeowners, and over the last year, they've all been at home. So our job has become easier in finding homeowners because they're all at home. Certainly many safety precautions needed to be taken and still need to be taken. I myself am addressing that right now at home. But nonetheless, it is something that if you know your target market and you know the demographic you're serving, in terms of connecting with them, even if it's putting flyers out, signs up, people live in their homes and they live in their communities. And even if they're not seeing the ads on mass transit as much as they used to be in the past, you can still reach out and connect with people quite easily.
Okay.
Any other speaker want to chime in?
I did have someone message me privately with a question for Shamika. They were asking if you offer specialized like certifications, or just if you could elaborate a little bit more on the event trainings that you have. Is Shamika still here? Okay.
I am. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
Let me move things around here. So for me, I actually do training. I customize it. So it really depends on where you are in your process. So it can be for individuals as well as it can be for organizations or companies. And then there is an element I don't really advertise quite yet, but I do also help individuals that's looking to go into the field of events. So I do a little bit of career coaching for them as well. And so part of why I'm waiting for that is I want the world to open back up, because part of what that is going to include is actually some real life hands-on training around events that I will have up under my company so that they can gain experience in the areas to help them with their job applications in the future. Does that answer your question? If they want to put it in chat or send it to you.
I think that answers the question.
Any other questions for our speakers? The floor is open.
All right. Well,
let me jump in here.
Okay.
So Lisa Ludwig, I'm calling out to you, dear. I wanted to see if you can talk more about the stereotype of women owning firearms. When we had our interview, I asked you, what do you think the stereotype is about women and purchasing weapons? If you can go into that a little bit.
Sure. I'm just not going to have my video on. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I put my PJs on. I'm done. Anyway, yeah. So yes, absolutely. There is a stigma involved with women who want to purchase firearms. I was one of them. I was taken advantage of, at the gun store because, as soon as I came in, I didn't know what I was speaking about. And they were like, basically, give me your wallet because we're going to take advantage of you. So right off the bat, we were sold something that wasn't right for us, and it was discontinued in about a week. So, right off the bat, I was like, this is ridiculous. I'm already been taken advantage of. I've been in this industry for like 5 minutes. I'm like, I really wish I had like some kind of a source that's like non-biased that would like assist me in purchasing a firearm that isn't the gun store and isn't trying to push, discontinued inventory, to somebody that doesn't know any better. And I think that's where that kind of niche kind of came in. And, it does assist because, if you go in there and you just start, not knowing the lingo, basically, or not showing proper etiquette when handling a firearm, your etiquette as a woman or even as a guy, literally starts plummeting because you are now, being unsafe. So they can tell right off the bat. So there is a huge stigma again with women and firearms, although a lot of women still feel like a gun is just going to like blow up. Like if they have it in their purse or something, it's just going to like explode. Like it doesn't work like that. So if you ladies or gents need training and need to understand how firearms actually operate, it's actually one of the easiest things to work with. And as long as you follow the safety laws, you will be safe. So something to think about. We have to stop that stigma that firearms are only for men. There's a lot of single women out there. There's a lot of divorcees, widows, people who have young children, or people who just, has a pet or alone. The only equalizer in this world, unfortunately, is a firearm. So, if someone comes into your home and you don't have that equalizer, you're going to have a problem. It's not grandpa's generation anymore, unfortunately. So we have to really think proactively. I actually had somebody who was stalked recently and was really manipulated. And, it was even tough for me to work with her because, it's hard for her to trust people. But like once, you get the walls down and everything is fine. But the point is that, not everybody has the same road. So we have to be very careful with who we're working with and how we approach things. So please feel free to reach out to me if anybody has any questions or, feel like they don't know where to turn to get a firearm. I'm here to help always. I would never charge anybody. I'm here for just assistance and information, and I can help anytime. So thank you so much, Gabrielle, for bringing that out. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you so much for sharing. I'm going to actually throw a question to Jacob Wodowitz. So you are our youngest panelist. So I wanted if you could talk about your balance between running a business and going to school, and if you could talk about that life balance.
Sure. So I think the biggest balance issue was kind of dealing with phone calls coming in, contacting clients, contacting you, emails, you want to, your first instinct is to reply right away to them, to take care of your customer and to make sure that, all their questions and all their needs are covered. And I think that at a certain time, especially when you're balancing school, work, and personal, you kind of have to carve out a certain time that says, from 3 to 5, I'm going to email and reply to customers. I'm going to take phone calls. If not, I have a voicemail set up, and, it's kind of just allowing yourself to do that. I think it's hard when you first begin, but I think once you get into a cycle with it, you can kind of figure your way out and make it seem that you are replying on time and that you're not ignoring your customer, and it can be challenging, definitely, because if you're in a busy season or there's something happening or, you want to reply right away. But I think obviously, depending on the emergency or the status of the contact, you can kind of gauge and reply. Obviously, if there's something that happened during your service or whatever your business is providing, you're going to respond right away. But if it's not as urgent, you can kind of find and carve out a time to balance and also focus on your schooling and your education, because at the end of the day, no one can take that away from you, and also your personal life.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jacob. And one last shout out or call out to Lauren, our hairstylist. If you can talk more about how the pandemic specifically has affected your business in terms of the different practices that you had to implement in your salon.
Yeah, so as far as the pandemic goes, it was actually quite simple to adapt to like the CDC guidelines. The industry is already so clean to begin with. We're constantly washing our hands. We're constantly disinfecting our tools after each client. So that wasn't really anything different. We did have to close down for 2 months, but being in Arizona, we got back to work after quarantine. We had people wait outside instead of inside, so that was one thing that was different. But just the how the industry is, we're such a big community. We're all here for each other. We're all here for our clients, and we all are experiencing this globally. Everyone is experiencing this pandemic. So anything we can do to make it easier, if we can bring them a hot cup of coffee while they're waiting outside during the winter, that's something we would do. And we're here for each other, and yeah, the pandemic, honestly, I feel so grateful. My business is thriving, and we're busier than ever. So
awesome. Thank you so much, Lauren. All right. If anyone has last call for questions, the floor is still open. Questions for any of our speakers today? All right, so I think we've asked all our questions already. All right, so this concludes our program. Thank you so much for coming today, and we hope that you learned a lot. We hope that we inspired you in some way. And again, please follow our speakers on social media. Follow them on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Clubhouse, whatever. So just follow them on social media. Definitely, please. So thank you to our speakers for being here today. Thank you for all of you for joining. Please share any feedback about this event. We definitely look to improve. Tammy, I don't know if you have any final words.
I just want to say thank you again to the speakers. Thank you everyone that attended the event today. Feedback is appreciated, and we hope that you gained some valuable information from this presentation, from the many presentations that we had today. And yeah, we hope that you all will stay connected and look forward to our next program.
Great, awesome. Thank you guys so much. All right. All right,
have a great night, everybody.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.